Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dylan back with another DJI Mavic Pro tutorial video, and today we're going to be focusing on the DJI Go 4 app. And it's basically the same as the DJI Go app, which is probably what most people use, but I always use the DJI Go 4 app, and there's a reason for that, and I will explain that to you guys. So first things first, right here we're in the DJI Go app. And as you know, this is what you'll see once you get your controller powered on, once you get your drone powered on, and you see that we are connected to the Mavic Pro. It says right here, aircraft connected. Then at that point, you would just hit camera. And there we go. But I am going to go to the DJI Go 4 app. The reason that I use the DJI Go 4 app over the DJI Go app is because of this autofocus here. From what I understand, as of today when I made this video, it may be different in the future, and possibly when you're watching this video, no telling how many days, weeks, years later after I made this video. But this autofocus here on the DJI Go app, you continually, from what I understand, you always have to push it to center focus or focus your footage. But on the DJI Go 4 app, it automatically does it. There's an option in the menu somewhere where you can say, you tell it, hey, I want you to autofocus all the time, so I don't have to sit there and keep on clicking on this thing on top of the other 100 things that I'm worrying about while I'm, got a $1,000 drone up in the air that I'm trying to take care of and not lose. So anyways, so I'm just gonna kind of show you guys the very basics of the DJI Go 4 app, and they are pretty much identical on the DJI Go app. So if you're stuck on using the DJI Go app, that is absolutely fine. But for me right now, I'm using the DJI Go 4 app. And I'm just going to kind of walk through the app and show you guys the basics of it. Anyways, once you're in the app here, and obviously we've got our controller connected, and we've got our drone connected, our Mavic Pro, and we'll just start from the top. We'll just start at the top and kind of work our way through it. Okay, so up here in the top left, we have the green bar, ready to go GPS. Not really sure how I have connected to GPS because I am indoors. But apparently I'm connected to 7 satellites, and I'm fixing to show you guys how I know I'm connected to 7 satellites. So anyways, guys, before you fly, after you calibrate your compass and all that good stuff, you always want to make sure you have this green bar that says ready to go GPS. That way you know that you're hooked up to satellites and everything's safe and you're ready to go. That means the aircraft's ready and it's time to launch it and fly it. So moving over to the right, you see a little drone icon there, and it says GPS. That means that you are getting GPS, and then immediately to the right of that you'll see a little satellite signal, and it keeps toggling back and forth from 8 to 7. Again, I am indoors, so it's pretty impressive that it's connecting to any satellites. And now we're, as you can see, or maybe can't see, I'm not sure how good the focus is from an overhead camera, but we're connected to 7 satellites now. Now to the right of that, this little signal, with the little dot that just turned red with the little waves and then just turned back white. Okay, what that is, when it is white, it means that your obstacle avoidance system is good to go and that it's working. When that is turned red, that means that it is not working. Now, when you are in GPS mode and you're connected to satellites and everything's fine, as long as you have all your options turned on in your options for the obstacle avoidance, as long as they're turned on, that should work and be fine, so it should be white. However, when you go to sport mode and some other different scenarios, your obstacle avoidance can't work and it will not work. At that point, that icon will turn red. So that's what that is. Next to that is your signal strength, but from your controller, from your remote to your drone. So if that's full bars, that means that you have a very strong signal, very good connection between your remote and your drone, so you don't have to worry about losing connection that way. As you know, this thing supposedly, free from interference, will fly up to 4.3 miles away, and you can still have good, a signal. But of course, there's 6, 7 times out of 10, you're gonna have power lines or some kind of metal buildings around or some kind of interference around. But it's still pretty common that you're going to have some kind of interference around. But anyway, so the little remote with the bars, that's just your signal strength between your controller and your drone. Next to that your HD, that means the quality of your transmission image here on your smartphone. You know, the further you fly away, I believe the resolution will go down a little bit on your preview because, you know, it's getting a weaker signal, so it doesn't have the strength to really transmit as high of a resolution picture. To the right of that, that would be your drone battery. So as you can see here, I've got 96% battery. And once you start flying, this long, skinny green line here, that's actually a timeline. And so it'll, where the two dashes are with the colon in the middle, that's your time. There's no time on it right now, but once you start flying it, it'll have like, you know, 24 minutes or whatever. And that'll, you know, that'll tell you, it'll just kind of count down as it goes. And again, in the settings, you'll see these two little white dots on the green timeline. I have mine set to at 30% battery to come up and say, hey, your battery's kind of getting low. It's 30% left in case I'm far away and I need to start bringing it home. And then again, this other white dot to the left of it, that's when I have 10% battery, which is critical battery warning. And then if I ever get that, I'm just bringing it right home because I don't want it to fall out of the sky and crash. So anyways, so that's the stuff along the top. And of course, right here on the, and before we get into the settings, let's go ahead and address everything on the screen that you see here. So this very top arrow here with the circle where the arrow's pointing up, that's simply your launch drone icon. So when you hit that, your drone will take off and it'll hover 4 foot. This next one is whenever you're flying and you want to return the drone to home. That's why there's an arrow pointing down with an H in a circle. Now when you launch, this icon will turn into a circle with a down arrow, meaning if you clicked it, it would just land straight down wherever the drone is, and then this one below it with the H, it lands at home. Now this icon right here, this is what I'm always talking about in my past videos. See how it looks like a remote? Again, we're in DJI Go 4. It's a remote icon that takes you to your intelligent flight modes. Well, it's a little drone looking icon on the DJI Go app, so don't get that confused. But we'll go to those here in a little bit. Down here, you have your, when you click this, you can toggle to where, and of course we don't have good signal in here, so it doesn't show the maps, but it's kind of like more like a Google Maps or street or terrain view of where we're at. And that just toggles that back and forth so you can see exactly what you're over, which that's pretty cool. And then of course right here you have your distance. That means how far the drone is away from you, like that way. And then your height to the right of that is how far your drone is up. And so anyways, then this little line right here, this little bitty thin line, that's your horizon. Should match up pretty close. And then over here, these little vertical dashes, that is your gimbal position. So if your gimbal's kind of facing, it just shows you like when you roll it all the way down, that's when your gimbal's facing straight down on top of you. When you go all the way up, that's when your gimbal is facing straight out to the horizon. So that's pretty simple and self-explanatory what that is. And then, okay, so over here, this button right here that has the two little lines, as you can see, there's a little video camera icon, so that means we're simply in video mode. Tap it again, it toggles it to photo mode. So that's all that is. It just toggles between photo and video mode. And then of course this right here, the big red button, when you're in video mode, that starts recording and stops recording. When you're in photo mode, boom, that takes a picture. And then under here, this is your camera settings. And again, I always shoot pretty much in auto, but you can change to manual there. That's what that is. Then you can change like your shutter speed, if you're talking about photos, your ISO, your brightness, all that good stuff, aperture. There's all kinds of stuff that you can tweak with, which I won't go into because I'm just kind of showing you the basics of this app. So right here, since we're in video mode, you know, you have your video sizes where you can change the 4K, 1080, 2.7K, change your frame rate, all that good stuff depending on exactly what you're going for. And then you have video format, which you can shoot in MP4 or MOV. I've been told that MOV is the way to go, yields a little bit sharper or a little bit more crisp in HD video. I don't really know if there's any truth to that, but I'm going to just shoot in MOV. And then NTSC PAL. Here in the United States and Americas, we shoot in NTSC. I believe PAL's more of a European thing. So for my European viewers, hey guys, I know it's PAL for you guys, but NTSC here in the United States, that's just a video format type thing. And then there's your white balance stuff, your style stuff, and color stuff, which is all just, you know, more advanced settings. And then over here on the sprocket, you have all kinds of other stuff, all kinds of other options to where, you know, stuff like your front LEDs auto turn off when you take a photo or video or all this good stuff. So if you're shooting at night, you wouldn't want that red haze, you know, from the top of your photo. So that's why you'd want those off. But just a bunch of options, a lot of good stuff. Of course, here's where you format your SD card. So anytime, you know, you're wanting to format it, erase everything on it for a new flight or whatever, you can format that there. So anyways, that's pretty much what that tools is. Now let's just go ahead and look at intelligent flight modes real quick. And these are just, you know, down here on the bottom it says beginner mode. The sensitivity and speed of aircraft will substantially increase after disabling beginner mode. So if you're a beginner, you want to toggle that on. It'll only let you fly like 98 feet away or high, and that's a really good thing to do. And so anyways, we'll turn that off because we're not a beginner anymore. But these are just all your intelligent flight modes: normal, gesture, active trap, tap fly, cinematic mode, tripod, terrain follow, point of interest, follow me mode, waypoints, home lock, course lock, and all kinds of good stuff. I've been going over intelligent flight mode, still got a few more to do for you guys. Okay, and then up here we have just some of the, didn't mean to tap that. We have some just of the generic stats. So it shows our auto ISO set at 1600, shutter speeds at 30. We got our EV at 0, white balance auto. The little deal right here, NA, means I don't have a SD card in because I'm not recording on my drone. And then it'll tell you the capacity of how many minutes you have left on your SD card if you're in video, or if you're in photo, that'll switch to how many photos you have left. So anyways, that's pretty much what that is. And then right here where this says 0 foot with these little red lines, the little red waves, what that is and it just turned off because I lost my satellite signal. See, I have red up here now. My obstacle avoidance doesn't work. Anyways, what that is, if that was white, those would come back up, and that's your obstacle avoidance. It's kind of your meter. It shows you like, okay, this is what sensor tripped the obstacle avoidance from the right side or the left side or straight up front and all that good stuff. Okay, now guys, let's go into the menu, and let's just kind of, I'm not going to go into hardcore detail or depth about this. This is just an overview to kind of show off the DJI Go 4 app. So right here, when you click on the drone, the very first sub-menu item, got main controller settings, basic settings, your home point settings. This first one is to where if you want your home point to be stored where the drone physically is on the earth, that you want it to land right back where it took off from, that's your home point. The second one here is where the controller is. So you can understand where that might be useful. Like if you're in a boat where you're going to drift, you're going to want to set this one where the remote is your home point, because then after you drift, you know, no telling how many yards, the drone will come back to the remote and not where you were about 10 minutes ago, you know, 100 yards away on the lake or on the ocean or wherever you're at. So anyways, that's all that is. Multiple flight modes. This is basically, you have to turn this on. Right there's off, right there's on. You have to turn that on if you want to be able to do stuff like tap fly, point of interest, active track, all that good and fun stuff. And also if you want to be able to put this drone into sport mode where you go fast and all that good stuff. Now, return to home altitude. That's basically to where if you use the fail-safe feature, return to home, that's the altitude, and that's in meters of how high you want the drone to climb up before starting to come home. Why would you want it to go up? You want it to go up because you want to make sure you get over trees and buildings and all that good stuff instead of just taking off real low and running into things whenever the drone is returning to home. So again, there's another switch for beginner mode. We've already been through that. Set max flight altitude. Again, that's in meters. 122 meters is roughly right at 399 or 400 feet, which here in the United States, that's the FAA regulatory number, to where you need to make sure you guys fly below 400 feet, because everything above that, is their airspace, and you could get in big time trouble if you're flying over 400 feet. So guys, please always be careful and follow your FAA and local guidelines. Enable max distance. We have that turned on. Set max flight distance, and that's basically how far away from you want to be able to fly, and that's in meters as well. And then you have some advanced settings, and this stuff is all just more about cinematic modes and what happens whenever you lose your remote controller signal. There's options here. I want mine to return to home. I don't want it to just hover or land because I may be so far away. I want it to come back to me. Smart return to home, I got it on. Turn on the front LEDs. I want that on. I don't have a propeller cage. For whatever reason, if you have a propeller cage, you want to make sure you have that turned on. But I don't, so I'm trying to. And then here's the stop motor method for an emergency uses only. It shows that if you'll put your sticks there or there, push both sticks to the bottom inner or outer corners to stop motors in the air in the event of emergency. So that might be important and something you need to know. All right, guys, let's move on to the next submenu item, which is all about your obstacle avoidance. This stuff, basically, if you're a big fan of the obstacle avoidance and want to be safe, you just want to make sure you have all this stuff turned on. There's all kinds of good stuff that tells, and, you know, it's all just about safety and avoiding obstacles. Click on advanced settings here, and then you just have more advanced settings all about obstacle avoidance. So that's all that is. You guys can pause the video at any point you want to, of course, and look at that. So then now, third down on the list, we have remote controller settings, little remote icon, and then there's stick mode that, you know, you can toggle kind of how you want the sticks to behave, and it's by default's in mode 2, and I've flown 2 other DJI drones besides this one, and it's all the same. So I'm not going to relearn how to ride a bicycle. I'm very comfortable flying this, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, and here we go, guys, the remote control LCD screen. You click that, and that shows up on your controller, which you guys can't see in this shot, but on the controller above on the LCD screen, it shows you a menu of what all you're seeing here, and it gives you a little key of what everything is. You guys feel free to pause that if you want to read through that and go through that. Okay, and then here, again, we're on the remote. You can just kind of customize what a bunch of your buttons do. This is all about the remote again, and there's a little deal about linking a remote controller, I guess, if you were to get a new one or something. Okay, on to the next menu item, HD. Image transmission settings, I keep on auto. It's got download bandwidth, transmission quality, image transmission settings, normal. I just keep all this by default. But image transmission settings in the normal mode, I just keep this in normal mode. Okay, now next. This is all about the aircraft battery. Just gives you some stats all about your battery. And then here's what I was telling you guys about that earlier in this video with that long, skinny green timeline. That thing right there, that first dot there and the second dot, that's what this is. Here's where they come from, back in the battery menu. At 10% is my critical battery warning, so that's the one to the furthest left, that dot on that green timeline. My low battery warning is 30. Now, of course, you can customize and change those, but these are the defaults, and I like where they're at, so I'm just going to keep them there. And then flight time, it shows your flight time that you've logged, and then we got more advanced settings, and we have some more stuff about our aircraft battery. Okay, let's go to the next submenu item, which is all about the gimbal. And the gimbal settings, I have my gimbal mode to follow. You can toggle it from follow to FPV, and FPV is like the mode you'd want to put it in if you're wearing the first person goggles, like the virtual goggles, because it behaves a little different. And then you have some advanced settings that's all about like your pitch and your smoothness and your yaw and your panning and all that good stuff. I've toggled mine just a little bit, just for, you know, to make it more to my liking for the type of footage I'm trying to capture. Then you have centering camera, adjust camera roll, and gimbal auto calibration. Those are all just for you know, fine tuning and making sure your gimbal's behaving correctly. And then lastly, we have the 3 little dots, which are all general settings. Right here's your measurement unit, which you can do imperial, metric, or the other metric there. And of course, all of us in the United States, we are imperialists, so that's why I have mine in imperial. Camera, enable hardware decoding, just kept that on. Peak focus threshold, none. Just a bunch of, you know, general settings type things. Cache during video shooting, large video, blah blah blah. And so it's always good to look through these and just kind of make sure everything looks good to you. But for the most part, I pretty much leave everything to default. But anyways, guys, that is the DJI Go 4 app, which is very similar to the DJI Go app. I just wanted to kind of do a run through on it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you guys find it useful. If you would, please click subscribe and like this video if you believe it helped you, or if you enjoyed it and you want to see more videos like this covering the DJI Mavic Pro. I have a lot more coming up, and as always, guys, I really appreciate you guys checking out my videos. You guys have a good one. This is Dylan.